November 8th of 92. New world order. Again, the revolution will not be socialized. No right to succumb and jump in it.
Good morning. Good morning. Let's connect to Galaxy FAW. Connecting. There we go. Let's get all the platforms up and running. Let's get the platforms up and running. Can I confirm we are being received via YouTube? Can I confirm we are being received via Facebook? Can I confirm we're being received via Mixcloud? I confirm that we are transmitting via galaxyafewe.net. I believe we are. I believe we are transmitting. Success this week. Success this week. Let's get this show on the road. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Motivator Show. Usually, indeed, alongside Lady Chelsea, PhD beckons. Keep working, Lady Chelsea, keep welcome. But nevertheless, let's continue this solo run. Although I am on the lookout for a 20-something young lady, someone who can advocate, who's confident, who wishes to read, acquire new skills. Just contact the Motivator. You may become my co-host while Lady Chelsea is studying. Up to you. I look forward to hearing from you. Okay, let's get this show on the road. First of all, I want to thank the Iron King, who's taken us from night to day. What a beautiful sunny day it is here in London town. I also want to thank and express my appreciation to those visionary leaders responsible for this platform. It's galaxyafewe.net. I want to raise up and recognize Chief Nana Pakumbabai. Nana Pakumbabai, thank you, Nana Pakumbabai, for your visionary leadership and your determination, your stalwartness. Yeah, I want to recognize that. More than 35 years as galaxyafewe.net been transmitting across the airways. Thank you. I want to give recognize, of course, to Elder Erekruti, wherever you are, my elder, love and appreciation to you. I want to raise up and recognize, of course, Dr. Abu Ratata and his lady wife. Blessings to you both. Blessings to you both. Long may you continue your strength and love. Long may that continue. You are, if I may say so, an example to us all. Love and respect to you both. I want to raise up and recognize, of course, the longest serving pilot here on galaxyafewe.net. And of course, the brethren with that wonderful name, Nickel, the most royal. Nickel, praise be to you. Praise be to you. Praise Jah Rastafari. Aye. I want to give a special rise up, of course, to the solutions finder. I want to give a special rise up to Empress Shanice. You know, when you listen to her program, she's not just complaining and moaning about everybody else. She looks for solutions. She remains focused, yeah? Such people are worth their weight in gold bullion. You know, computer chips these days, because they're even more valuable than gold bullions. Yeah. And that's bringing me on to a special recognition. I want to recognize Ndidi Ishiwa. Okay. She's been my most frequent guest on this program. I recognize her because of her wonderful, insightful articles. Okay. And one of those most powerful articles, she noted, it is not Africa's natural resources, which is the source of its wealth. It's the technologies that derive from those natural resources. Yeah. You notice all the natural resources come out of Africa, and all the technologies then brought by Africans at a much higher price. We need to reverse that trend respectfully. So I want to give a big rise up to Ndidi, always calling your name, wonderful articles, keep it up. We'll get you back on in a few weeks' time, because the situation in Nigeria, great Nigeria, continues to become and is critical. Okay, so we need a further update on what's happening in Nigeria, although I'm minded to mention Ghana. And Ghana will feature in this program today, which will have a special flavor, a special flavor. I wonder if those of you can remember Mr. Gordon, yeah, of the Gridling Gibbon Primary School in Deptford in South London. You remember that program, that inspired head teacher. Remember, we always remember an inspired teacher, don't we? Yeah, we always remember a good teacher. You remember how he described his teaching practice, his philosophy. Yeah, you remember how he sought to inspire those who he led as teachers, practitioners, and of course, the children under his care. Do you remember how he spoke about them with such affection, such determination, and such ambition for them? Well, later today, we're going to have one of his students here on galaxyafiwi.net on the Motivator Show, where we translate our words into action. That's what's going to happen today. Praise be. I'll say no more for now. Let me now go into other matters which needs to happen. I'm going to turn on the recording now. Let's get this recording flowing and let's continue. I've got maybe 20 minutes, an important segment. And I say this an important segment because every day I'm reminded why the segment was created. Health messages. I know some people go, oh, not again. Here's why. In the Black or African heritage communities, indeed Asian communities, we have abnormally high levels of diabetes, hypertension, cancers. Yeah? Far too many in these communities live sedentary lifestyles. In other words, do not exercise. With a consequence, we're dying before our time. And as we gain old age, we are accumulating multiple diseases and conditions. We can do better. Here's why. Here's why. By a few simple steps. I ask you to consider the amount of sugar you ingest into your bodies. You recall a previous guest on this show, okay? Elijah Timon, nutritional pharmacist. He reminded us that what happens over time, some people develop a insulin resistance, where we just simply don't process insulin in our bodies, which of course is the means by which we process sugar. And forgive my sweating this morning, I'm not sure why I'm sweating quite so much, but never mind, okay? So I ask you to consider the amount of sugar we're ingesting. A further reminder, a speech given by the Vice Chancellor of the University of the West Indies, Professor Hilary Beckles, where he noted in the Caribbean, those islands across the Caribbean, there is an epidemic of diabetes. Here in this country of Britain or Europe or the Americas, it's not described as an epidemic. Maybe if Professor Hilary Beckles were here in Britain or the Americas or other places, he would describe it as an epidemic. But here is not described an epidemic. It here is described as abnormally high levels of diabetes amongst the African heritage communities, Asian communities, okay? Where we're not processing sugar as it should be. So I ask you, please, to consider the amount of sugar you're ingesting, either in your teas and coffees or those sweet drinks that comes in a tin, or those cakes and other sweet items, and consider the cumulative impact it has on your body over time. I ask you simply to consider the impact it has in your bodies. And ask yourself, in my family, am I aware of someone with diabetes? My immediate family or wider families, am I aware of someone who suffers from diabetes? Amongst my network, my friends, am I aware of someone with diabetes? In other words, it's never far, I can assure you, from all of our families. But this is fundamentally, type 2 diabetes is fundamentally a lifestyle diabetes, can be avoided. We significantly moderate the amount of sugar we ingest. Not saying you don't take any in, because that's like going cold turkey, and I don't recommend that. But I recommend, as I've been engaged in over some years now, a gradual reduction in the amount of sugar that I consume. And I now consume maybe 5%, if that, of what I used to consume 30 years ago. Significant reduction. I equally ask you to consider the amount of salt you ingest into your bodies, and salt is one of the pernicious foods or ingredients we add to our foods. I no longer buy cartons of salt from the greengrocers, from the shops. I no longer need to do that, okay? I have been able to take it out completely, okay? But it's found in so many foods in unsuspecting ways, particularly those ready-made meals, Salt is very prevalent. It goes by different names, and maybe what I should do is a special program on specific ingredients that appear in our foods, so that you can see those ingredients and recognize them for what they really are, sugars or salt. It's usually used for so-called flavoring, but actually it's either sugar or salt. The harmful effect is hardening the arteries, the raising of our blood pressures. Do you know someone with hypertension, with high blood pressure in your immediate family, wider family, in your friends' network? Again, another one of these pernicious diseases that is prevalent within our community. Abnormally high levels of hypertension, high blood pressure, hardened arteries. I also want you to consider the amount of fat that you consume. Fat comes in so many different forms. I've described, of course, buying meat from the butchers. And if you buy steak, you can see this white streak in the steak, If you buy lamb and you put it on a rack, and you see all this oil permeating from the lamb. Similarly with chickens as well, but to a lesser extent, Of course, the big one is dairy products. Okay, and I don't mind being challenged on what I'm about to say. Dairy products are simply cow's fat in another form, congealed fat in cheese and your butters. It's just fat. I say again, it's just simply fat. We have got to make a conscious decision to reduce the amount of fat in our diet. Yes, you know, you see some people with bloated abdomen areas, bloated thighs, bloated bottoms, you know, some women, you know, kind of look interesting. Look, I have to admit, but the long-term impact of those bloated abdomen, bloated chest, bloated thighs, bloated bottoms is harmful. It's harmful. I repeat, it is harmful. I pause there, but I want many of the women to think this through, you know? Bloated abdomen, bloated chest, bloated thighs, bloated bottoms, you know? I just want you to think about it. Think about the long-term impact it has on your health. Because, of course, far too many men and women are overweight. Levels of obesity, overweight, is high in our communities. We eat too much. Again, remind you of what Elijah Timot, the nutritional pharmacist, said to us. We eat too much. And I've been trying, our meals should be no more than a fistful. Sorry, Elijah, I'm not sure I've quite got there yet. I'm gradually reducing the amount of food I eat at meal times, you know, a fistful, yeah. At first, it appears to be a struggle, but actually, your body adjusts, your stomach adjusts to no longer being strained. So I've mentioned sugar, I've mentioned salt, I've mentioned fat. So let's mention these other two. And it's very prevalent in our diet. And I'm always astonished the amount of carbohydrates and starch we consume every day. Carbohydrates in the form of flour, starch in rice, you know, carbohydrates and starch from some root vegetables, such as those yams, yeah. Carbohydrates and starch, which we store in our bodies, accumulate around our organs, our hearts, our livers, yeah, our stomachs, yeah, our intestine. You see all the fat congeal around it, okay? We're storing all this fat, all this weight, unnecessary, 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 unnecessary. Habit. And if you've had this habit for your entire lifetime, I recognize it's difficult to break the habits of a lifetime. But I say to you, mothers and fathers, please, I say to you, please, let's help our children. Let's help our children not to form these habits, okay? Not to form these habits. How? Giving them unprocessed food where possible, fruits and vegetables, yeah? Untainted vegetables, en masse, give them large amount of untainted vegetables, yeah? Green vegetables, beautiful looking foods. That's what we need. We need the appropriate amount of water. Yes, I have my water here. I'm told I should be consuming between 2 to 3 liters of water per day. It may be different for yourself. Seek advice from your doctor. Go to your doctor and get that advice. Go to your nutritionist and obtain that advice, you know? Vitally important. Remember, water, fruits and vegetables, yeah? And if you have to eat meat, no more than 5%, 10%, but most certainly no higher than that in your total nutritional intake. There's a small amount of meat if you really have to. I know we've all developed a habit of consuming meat in large quantums, but it is actually unnecessary, actually unnecessary. I also ask you to think about the long-term impact as you get older. Do you know someone with one of these typical public health diseases, diabetes, hypertension, high blood pressure, cancers, heart condition, you know? Just think about it. I ask you to think about it and consider what you want for yourself, for your loved one, for your family, what example you want to set and be for others. We, of course, in addition to ensuring we have the appropriate amount of water, need to exercise. Yeah. I try to run in the morning, particularly before this show, go for a run and to do my weights. Oh, no, I have my weights here. Try and do my weights, 10, 15, 20 minutes, just do my weights, all parts of each level, got to do it, got to do it, yeah? Even though we live in the cities, we can exercise and exercise vigorously. So you're still sweating, I'm still sweating, You've got to take it seriously. It is a psychological phenomenon that we get ourselves into that we're not exercising. We've got to exercise. Our bodies demand exercise. Otherwise, it believes we're shutting down. And shutting down means that we lower our ability to resist the maladies, the viruses, the diseases that befall in our entire environment. Consider the impact of not taking care of yourself on your general health. I just ask you to consider. As a good brethren from Nottingham would have said to us, we've also got to consider our mental and spiritual health. So incredibly important. If you're in doubt, please seek professional advice. Go to your GP. Explain to your GP what you're feeling inside, and let your GP signpost you to an appropriate clinical specialist. This is vitally important messages, vitally important. If in doubt, seek professional advice, okay? Your spiritual health, of course, such an important part of us, particularly us of African heritage, really important to us, being spiritually enlightened people. Giving yourself the space, the opportunity just to rest, clear your minds, and raise your inner energy. Give yourself the opportunity to take away the cares of the world and focus on your breathing, focus on yourself, to raise your inner energy so you can face each day with confidence, with vigor, yeah? And be successful as you desire to be. I ask you simply to consider all these actions as part of your general health and well-being. And lastly, as a previous guest here on this show has reminded us, in addition to all the other health messages I give out, I should remind people to take care of your sexual health. Really is important. If you've never been to a clinic, okay, one of the local sexual health clinics, I encourage you to do so. Just like an MOT, you have no idea what your current status might be. And if you're in an area which offers an online service, sh24.gov, you will have the opportunity to have online treatment. If necessary, they may call you in, but honestly, sh24, if your health authority buys into that service. But otherwise, go to your GP or indeed your local sexual health clinic. For reasons I do not understand, our community continues to have persistently high levels of STI, which of course stands for sexually transmitted infections, because we do not go to clinics in sufficient numbers. Coyness, shyness, if I may say so, is not beneficial to us. But many of these services, go to a clinic, are anonymous. Go to your GP, who knows what you say to your GP? It is vitally important that, particularly those of us who are older age, set example for the younger ones. And the younger ones, maybe you should take example for the older ones. You know, this is such an important subject. Please do not allow coyness to determine your behavior. If you're concerned about anything I've said so far in respect of the health messages, I'll give out the numbers that we will use throughout the program. I'd love to hear from you. Love to hear from those who are concerned or have a view about some of these health messages, because why do I want to do this? You know, my people, if we are to progress, we've got to share information. We've got to be our advocate for the community here. Even those quiet ones, you can also be an advocate for our community. If you've got a view, got a thought on the subject, how we can improve these messages and their transmission throughout the community, love to hear from you. Call 0208 133 5616. Okay, I repeat, if you want to talk about these health messages, call 0208 133 5616. Love to hear from you. Just making sure the system's up and running, and I will make sure that you are heard. Okay. Now then, whilst people are thinking about that, I know for some reason far too many of my members of my community are very coy on these subjects, and heaven only knows why. Where you'll get it from, I just don't know. I just don't know. What I recognize is that these are subjects we must discuss. Not only discuss, we must take action, because actions speak louder than words, and translating these words into action is the whole purpose of these programs. Okay. So let's make sure the system's up and running. So making sure, because this system valves does sometimes not always work as it should for me, but anyway, we'll get it right eventually. So whilst people are thinking about those health messages, I just want to give an applaud. I want to give applaud to Councillor Natasha Ennin. Okay, she's a councillor here in Southwark, in a ward adjacent to my political ward. As you know, I'm also a councillor. I want to applaud her. Not only is she a councillor, she also is a specialist, works within our local Citizens Advice Bureau. And wasn't she fantastic last week, providing sound advice as to how to survive the soaring cost of living? Okay, she provided a whole range of constructive advice as to what we can all do to mitigate the effects or impacts, indeed, of these soaring prices which are going up, but our wages not going up. You know, I know in London we're going to have a series of strikes by the railway unions. I know it's going to be very inconvenient. But how many of us would love to strike? How many of us would love to strike in order to secure our pensions, in order to secure the value of our salaries? How many of you would love to do so? So whilst I recognize the strikes that will be experienced in London will be inconvenient, but they're striking because their pensions have been challenged, and the value of those pensions, and their salaries are declining in value. Because if you hear of inflation approaching 10%, it means your salaries is declined in value by 10%. Your standard of living, therefore, declined by 10%. It means your ability to survive is declined by 10%. Or are you simply going to take it without question? So I want to encourage you, if you're not a member of a trade union, to join a trade union. To join a trade union. Even Chi Pakumbabai, Nana Pakumbabai, here the founder of GalaxyAfiwi.net, is a member of a trade union. In fact, on his program Sundays, he talks about his trade union membership. I want to applaud trade union membership. Organized people who are employed must be organized in order to protect the value of your salaries. But I assure you, the shareholders, those in the executive and director positions, will ensure their salaries are protected. And many of them earn significant amount of money, way above the average, infinitely higher than the average, which I believe is around 30,000 per annum. So therefore, if an executive, if a director can earn way above the 30,000, which is the average, and thereby have experienced less impact of inflation at 10%, clearly, those of us on average salaries should seek actively to protect our salaries. So I want to encourage you, if you're not a member of a trade union, to do so. And I will get a trade unionist on this program to discuss what it is and what it means to be a member of a trade union. Okay, so watch this space. We're going to talk about trade union membership and why it's important that you are a member of a trade union. Indeed, the Labour Party was founded by trade unions. In other words, workers, ordinary people, ordinary salaries coming together so they can form a political party, in this case, the Labour Party, to form a government so that government policies do not harm ordinary people on ordinary salaries. That's reasonable, isn't it? Isn't it? Anyway, if you've got a dispute, well, I'd love to hear from you. Again, the phone number is 0208 133 5616. Okay. Interesting subject, I think. Interesting subject to behold. And yes, so I'm just making sure our phone system's up and running, because of course, as I said earlier, it always does a little thing. I just want to adjust that because I'll then turn my attention to the topic for today's program. I mentioned earlier on Gridling Gibbon School in Deptford in South London. Okay, I reminded you of that remarkable head teacher who really should have been mentioned in the Queen's honours, in my view. I think it's a bit of a slight that he wasn't. He should have been mentioned. He should have received a gong, as it were. Not because he wants to become a member of the British Empire, but because of his achievements. Indeed, we, the community, need to applaud and give such people appropriate applause. Because the impact people such as Mr. Gordon has on the next generation is profound. He's shaping the young mind, preparing them for adulthood. He's keeping his part of the bargain. When a child's in his school, he is the parent. He's keeping his side of the bargain. The other side is us, parents, when the child's at home. It's what we do, the child is keeping our side of the bargain. Okay. Right, let me just bring this up. So, why is that significant? Because today, we're going to have the Mathlete. Interesting term, huh? The Mathlete. What does it mean? You're going to find out soon enough, don't you worry. You're going to find out soon enough. And I'm going to encourage them to think about logging in shortly, but I'm just going to just make sure our other systems are up and running and just make sure that, here we go, let's make sure that's up and running. Anything else comes up, there we go, all righty. There we go. So whilst that's taking care of itself, so the Mathlete will be here today. I hope you adults, going to be in your best behavior. And I expect you to call in and give the Mathlete, I'll give you more details about the Mathlete, ring in and give the Mathlete your love, affection, and encouragement. That's all. That's all. That's the purpose of today's program. Okay. So let me just bring this up as well. And I'm now going to just making sure that, yep, the system's up and running. So it's always good to hear from you all. And I believe it's all good. So this is what I want to do today. We're going to have a special guest. And my guest, if you wish, you can now call in, so we get things set up for you all. Because I came into public life because I was concerned about the quality of schools in my neighborhood. Okay. I had the opportunity in those days to send my children to private schools, you know, and that could very easily have happened. But we took the decision that to do that, when we could make a difference to not only to our own children, but to the wider community, would be a betrayal. Because what was noted, that where you had parents who had the ability to provide enhancements at home, okay, that their children were doing pretty well, regardless of the perilous conditions of schools in my neighborhood, going back a few decades now. We're talking about 30 years ago. Once we'd taken the decision that we will send our children to local schools, it was at that point the schools themselves needed to change. You hear very often that wealthier people move out of their areas to find better areas for the children to be educated. That's a common behavior, okay? I'm not criticizing anyone who does that. I'm not doing that. But I simply note that if we all did that, schools across, not only in the neighborhood that I live, across London, across the country, would be in a perilous state. We've got to care not only about ourselves, our immediate family, but for the wider community, you know? Because we are all, whether we're conscious of it or not, change makers. Public services respond to our desires. Yes, public servants may get themselves into a mindset that resists change, but ultimately, once the community says these changes must happen, once there's political steer that change must happen, I can assure you change will happen. And I say that with additional emphasis, change will happen. Okay. I pause there because it's really an important message to get across to many, particularly in my own community, who've absorbed the propaganda that we are powerless, you know, downtrodden, second or third class, at the bottom of the heap, and all that crap. Respectfully, that's simply Afrophobia being expressed to you, to which you've absorbed and made it a part of your consciousness. Afrophobia is really the fear and the concern of African peoples, Black peoples. But actually, nothing could be further from the truth. In the borough that I live in, here in London, we are a significant minority, if not in some areas, the majority. In terms of our school population, we're actually the majority. More than 80% of all students in my part of London are of African heritage or Asian heritage. 80%, an astonishing number. Therefore, with such numbers comes responsibility. With responsibility that we as adults must step up to the plate. Become school governors, yeah? Become advocates for the schools, you know? We have a responsibility, therefore, to shape those schools, to reflect our aims and ambitions. That's what we've got to do, which is why I applaud Mr. Gordon of the Gridlin Gibbon School in Deptford in South London for producing students, despite the so-called socio-economic background that students come from, in demonstrating that school, like many schools I've seen in my immediate neighborhood, perform way above the national average, despite the socio-economic background that they are founded in. Why is that significant? Because children are children. Regardless of our money, wealth is held by the family. The potential of children, because we're all human beings, we're a single species, is enormous. And with the right encouragement, with the right instruction, with the right leadership, children will excel. And many of them don't realize that they're actually geniuses. The level of geniuses amongst the African population is astonishing. It is astonishing, which is why those who suffer from Afrophobia have to constructively prevent our children from realizing their academic, intellectual potential by denying them resources, denying them instruction in order to undermine their academic potential. So when you come across head teachers such as Mr. Gordon, you've got to applaud them because they're not weighed down by ethnic bias. You know, I'm only going to teach a child from a particular ethnic background to his or her potential. He says we'll teach all children equally. We'll put as much effort in all children because the potential that they possess is unlimited. Usually it's the environment that shapes a child's potential characteristics. And that's been my experience being a school governor for nearly 27 years. It's been definitely my experience. Children from the poorest background performing better than children who live in the wealthiest parts of Britain. So I say to those little Englanders, if you undermine these children's potential, ambitions, you undermine Britain's ambition, economic potential. Because we're all ultimately one society. Yes, we're made up of communities, but we are actually one society. We can all do better. So today's program provides an opportunity for the community to recognize a mathlete. Oh, what a word, huh? Okay. Now, I believe we might have our guest on the line. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, your very soft voice. I can barely hear you. Speak up.
Good morning.
Oh, yes, you are. You're some distance from your speaker or your microphone even. Good morning. Louder,
Good morning.
please. Try again, one more time, please.
Good morning.
Ah, good morning. That's better. That's better. I'll get it up there now. Am I by chance speaking with Michelle?
Yes.
Oh, good morning, Michelle. How are you this fine morning?
Good.
And Michelle, are you with your mother?
Yes.
Mum.
Hello.
Oh, Mum said she was a little shy. I don't understand how Mum could be shy. Good morning, Mum. How are you? How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, it's so good to hear your voice, okay? And thank you for taking the time to be with us this morning, okay? So, do you mind, Mum, if I ask you a few short questions?
Yes, please.
Mum, first of all, I want to recognize again your head teacher, the head teacher of Goodland Gibbon School, Mr. Gordon. Okay, I want to recognize him, and what an inspired head teacher. Would you agree with me? Mum, can you hear us?
Yes, please.
Yes. Your head teacher, what's your impression of your head teacher?
Oh, Mr. Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
He's so fantastic. He's such a wonderful head teacher. And he's doing so good for the school and Michelle as well.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful, wonderful. And you are so right, so right. And tell us, just give us some idea, because it's we don't see enough of members of our community who are actually head teachers. Okay. Well, what difference do you think he's made to the children's life, being a man of African heritage, teaching a school with a significant proportion of the students are children of African heritage? What difference does he make?
Oh, yeah, a lot, great difference.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mr. Gordon, he's not just a head teacher, mm-hmm. because sometimes you go to school and you see him everywhere. Mm-hmm. Like just in the kitchen that I haven't seen Mr. Gordon. Mr. Gordon is everywhere. Like sometimes you see him cleaning, sometimes you see him in the classroom, sometimes you see, like he's everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good. And him being everywhere, does that mean that both parents and all the children recognize him and respect him?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. I must say, when he appeared here, he most certainly was extremely inspiring. You know, what I'm going to do, I just want to adjust your volume because I understand some callers can't hear you very well, so I'm just going to adjust the volume if you don't mind. Okay. So, Mum, so what do you do with your daughter at home? And we're going to come to Michelle in a moment. What is being at home with Michelle like? Tell us. But I have a few children myself, so remember. So I have a feeling I know what you're going to say. Go ahead. Go on.
Being Michelle at home is sometimes it's difficult.
Yes.
It's a bit hard for me. Yes. When it comes to Michelle like asking questions.
Uh-huh.
Always want to know a lot.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah,
and
sometimes she will ask you something that you don't have answer to it, but we keep on trying. And she's always want to do something. Like she's always busy and she's always moving around, want to know new things, different things, and
yes, I completely understand. Trust me, Mum. And it's always a challenge to keep up with them, isn't it? It's a challenge to keep up with them. I completely understand. And but I know she's a loving daughter.
Yes.
Very, very loving daughter. You know, and I completely understand. And we hope that there are many who listen to today's program will be wanting to give you whatever support you need in order to continue to support your daughter. You know, and Mum, before I go to Michelle, I understand you're from the motherland of Africa, and you're of Ghanaian heritage, is that right?
Yes, please. I'm a Ghanaian.
Wonderful. And I had a Ghanaian a monarch on the program maybe 2 months ago. I'll tell you more details. So tell me, Mum, being a Ghanaian living in Britain, what is the difference in terms of education here versus what was available in Ghana?
I think the difference is a bit challenging, and here you can get a lot of support, and sometimes maybe the facilities and support, I think is here is a bit okay. It's okay.
Thank you. It's always interesting here that the contrast, the comparisons, always interesting. And for yourself, now that Michelle is growing and her needs are growing, I know for many it does present some challenges. Hold on, we've got a phone call here. Let's put on a phone call. Hold on a second. Good morning, caller. Good morning.
Still more volume to match yours.
Still need more volume for my guest. Yep, I'm adjusting the volume now.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
A bit more volume for her to match yours.
Thank you very much. I will make sure it happens. Thank you for that call. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Blessings to you. Thank you. Mum, we're just making sure that the audience can hear you.
Okay.
Right, that's right. So let's take care of that. That's okay. We're a bit soft. I'm just trying to resolve that problem. Don't you worry. There you go. Hopefully that should help to resolve the problem. Thank you. So, Mum, let's, if I may, go to Michelle. Michelle, good morning to you.
Morning.
Now then, Michelle, your head teacher said that you're very quiet at school.
Well, yes, sometimes I can be very quiet.
Why are you quiet? What do you do? When you say you're quiet, he says that you'll sit there and you're studying. Is that what you do? You observe? Is that what you do?
Well, yes, sometimes.
So have you watched your interview on BBC?
Yes.
Okay. And how do you believe you came across on your interview?
Well, I was very quiet. My voice sounded kind of weird than how it sounds now.
Okay. I'm going to ask you, why do you think you are now, I believe you might be Britain's first year 8 Mathlete champion. And therefore, you've broken a record. So how is it that you are now the Mathlete global champion? What did you do that was different? Sorry, let me rephrase my question. Don't you mind? Let me rephrase my question. Okay. In preparing for the Mathlete competition, what did you do different? Did you work harder?
Yeah.
What did you do differently? What did you do differently?
I worked hard and focused more on maths than any other subject.
And did you acquire new skills, or was it that you wanted to perfect the skills that you had already learned in class?
Well, I wanted to improve what I already know and get better at it.
Okay. So just give us some idea of how you prepared yourself. What did you do differently? Did you stay in class longer, or when you went home, did you spend more time on your homework, or did you go on the internet and do more research? What did you do that was different?
Well, when I went home, I used to do my school homework and do extra homework and anything I could do.
Mhm. So give us some idea. What did you do? Give us some idea. Because there are other children listening to you and they want to learn from you. So give us an insight into how you prepared yourself.
Well, all I had to do was not get distracted,
Uh-huh.
work, and just try my hardest.
Absolutely. So you start up with a very important word, not to become distracted. Do you think many children become distracted or easily distracted?
Yes.
Mhm.
That happened.
So is that with the TV, the radio, or just wanted to play with other friends?
It could be anything. The TV, just laying down, sleeping, or something. It could be anything.
So your friends, are they your friends, girls and boys, who like maths as well?
Well, yes, my friends like maths as well.
Okay. So and your best friend, is your best friend someone who likes maths?
Yes.
Okay. And do you often study with your best friend, or it doesn't matter who you study with?
But it doesn't matter who I study with. I just.
So tell us, what type of maths do you like? Is it the basic arithmetics? Have you started into what sort of maths do you do? Because you're what, a year 3 going to year 4 now, aren't you? Is that right?
Yes.
So tell us about the maths you do at school.
Well, I do fractions, sometimes division, adding 3-digit numbers, and subtracting 3-digit numbers.
Wow. Okay. Wow. And is that usual to those in your class, or are you being given special maths because of your abilities in maths?
Sometimes we get paired into groups and we do different questions for people who are in higher math levels.
Okay. And do you help other boys and girls in your class to understand and resolve math problems?
Sometimes when I'm finished with my own work.
Okay. So let's just turn back to the Mathlete. Okay. So explain to us how that competition was run. So your teacher said you're going to be entered in the Mathlete competition. Was it the whole class, or was it particular persons, boys and girls in your class, that were entered?
It was the whole of Mathletics. So it just showed up on Mathletics and you had to do 5 games, and whoever won got the prize.
You make it matter of fact, if I may say so, Michelle. So what I did today, because normally when I'm on my show, I'm not sure, can you see me at the moment?
Yes.
You can. So I put on this shirt. Do you know who that is?
Yes.
Who is he? Who's that?
Usain Bolt.
Wow. And he's just like you. He studies hard. He works hard to prepare himself to become a world champion. So I put it on thinking of you, I put him on thinking of you, okay? Because after all, you are not an athlete, you are a mathlete. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, there you are. Just for you, I put it on, okay? Just for you, okay? So, is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So tell us about your hobbies. What hobbies do you have?
Well, sometimes I like riding my scooter, but then I lost my scooter.
Oh, we can't hear you very well. Say again, please, Michelle.
Sometimes I like riding around on my scooter, but then I lost my scooter, so I can't do that anymore.
Oh, so you lost your scooter. Oh, right. Noted. Okay. But what else do you like to do?
I also like
What else do you do at home?
Sometimes I do drawing.
Uh-huh. Okay. I'd love to see some of your drawing. Do you have any examples you can show us today?
No, sometimes I don't know where they go, but just
Okay, that's all right. So you've lost your scooter. So Mum and I are going to talk about your scooter, okay, later on, okay? I think if you've lost your scooter, we should make sure it's replaced. That's only fair, isn't it?
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. So if there was a message for other boys and girls, you said that they should try to avoid being distracted. What other messages you want to give to other boys and girls if they're to get on with their schoolwork, their studies? What else? They shouldn't become distracted. What else should they not do?
They shouldn't take breaks that are too long.
They shouldn't take too long breaks. Okay, that's an interesting observation. Okay. What else? What else would you recommend?
They shouldn't stop practicing.
Shouldn't stop practicing. Okay, okay. Now then, it's interesting because we say that you are a child, and I know that there are many parents and others who say that we should ensure that you have ample time to play. Okay. So is for you studying a form of play, or do you see play as being on your scooter as something quite separate?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Uh-huh. We're listening.
Yeah,
Oh, was that question too elaborate?
yeah, can you repeat the question, please?
I will repeat it. Do you see your studies in maths or any other subject as being a form of play, or is play for you riding your scooter?
Well, play for me is riding my scooter.
What other forms of play do you like? Do you enjoy?
But sometimes I just run around the house for no reason.
You run around the house for no reason, huh? Oh, okay. I hear what your mother says now. Your mother said, well, she's everywhere. She's everywhere. What's that? It's because you've got a lot of energy. Is that right? You've got a lot of energy?
Yes.
So, do you have your own computer?
Well, I don't have my own computer. Sometimes other people use it.
Okay. So you don't have a scooter and you don't have your own computer. Okay, that's all right. Noted. Your mother and I need to speak later on. Okay. Okay. So, Misha, do you know the significance of the prize you won in becoming the global Mathlete champion for year 3?
Can you repeat that, please?
I shall. My fault. How do you feel being the world Mathlete champion for year 3? How does it feel now?
Shocked. I'm just really shocked.
You're shocked. But you worked hard though, Misha.
Well, yes, but I'm still shocked.
Okay. You didn't believe you'd win anything, huh?
No.
But now that you won, how has it changed you?
Well, it hasn't really changed me a lot. I still do things I did before. Except for the interviews.
Okay. You realize, of course, that now that you've won, there are many adults, particularly those adults in higher education, who are looking to you, and we're anticipating great things from you. Because what you've demonstrated is incredible potential.
Well, I don't really understand what you're saying.
Okay, you're absolutely right. There you go. Okay, there we go. I need Mr. Gridley, Mr. Gordon here, really. Okay, anyway, there we go. You're right. And you're right. You know, Michelle, you're absolutely right. Here's what I really mean. You've shown that a young lady of 8 years old can become a world champion, even though she lives in Deptford in South London. Do you understand? Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Yeah, even from Deptford in South London, we have a world champion.
Yes.
That's a fantastic achievement.
Thank you.
There you are, a fantastic achievement. And we wanted today, and there are parents and others listening to what we're saying, and you notice a few have run up making sure that we can hear you, because they're wanting to understand from you how you did it. But I think your message is you simply worked hard. Would I be right in saying that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And yes, you prepared yourself for the competition. So you did a bit of extra work, okay? But as far as you were concerned, it's normal for you, isn't it?
Yes.
There you are. And therefore, you're not really understanding what all the fuss is about, really, are you?
No.
And from where I'm sitting, Michelle, okay, I have to say to you that that's beautiful. And your mother must be very proud of you. Yeah? Yes. Your mother is very proud of you. And I want you to give your mother a big hug. Yeah? I can hear you, Mum. I can hear you, Mum. Immensely proud of you, because that love that your mother has given to you is what you're reflecting right now, That's all you know, it's love, Love, patience, as parents, we're just very patient, You said you run all over the house, and I can imagine what that's like. Oh my gosh, don't worry, Mum, I completely understand what that's like. And you ask a lot of questions, So what we as a community need to do, Michelle, is to be able to respond to your questions, okay? Now, we have a presenter here on galaxyafui.net, which is the radio station to which my program is transmitted via. And we also transmit this program live via YouTube, Facebook, and Mixcloud under the Motivator Show. That's DE space Motivator Show, okay? So you can see a recording of this show on YouTube, if you so wish, okay? But we have a presenter here on galaxyafui.net. His name is Pi Ratio. Michelle, is just like you, a natural mathematician. And I'm hoping that he might join us shortly, okay, to share some of his experiences with you. Okay, hopefully he'll join us very soon. Because, Michelle and Mum, what is not generally recognized and acknowledged by many communities is that genius amongst the African population is above average when compared to other ethnic groups. Okay, this is United Nations report. In other words, children with above average intelligence is prevalent in our communities. What holds them back is lack of parental involvement and economic circumstances. But Michelle, for you, don't worry, Michelle. For you, you benefited from an excellent school with an excellent head teacher and a wonderful mother. Well, I say to you again, keep hugging your mother, okay? Okay, keep hugging your mother and remember to do what your mother says.
Okay.
Okay, okay, she says. Okay, I have another question for you, Michelle.
Okay.
Do you have any ambitions yet? Are there any people you've seen that impress you, that you want to be like? Any particular, do you know of anyone that he really impresses you, that you like?
Mr. Gordon.
Mr. Gordon! Oh, Mr. Gordon, oh my gosh. Why Mr. Gordon? Please tell us, why Mr. Gordon?
Well, he's the one who taught me everything I know.
He's inspired you. Yeah. In other words, he's made you believe in yourself, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense? Wow. You know, Mr. Gordon, you know, if he's listening, I don't mind him calling, but wow, I think you're right. We always remember a good teacher. Okay, that's a feature of life generally. We always remember a good teacher. Okay. Tell us about Mr. Gordon, then, why you'd like to be like him and be maybe a teacher like him. Tell us why. Explain.
Well, he always gets lots of respect for what he does.
I didn't quite catch that. He always what, sorry?
And he's always there to support him.
There to support. Hold on, let's get this up. Good morning, callers. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Pi Ratio speaking, sir.
Oh, Pi Ratio. Ah, Pi Ratio. Are you listening to the program? Huh?
I am listening to the program, sir, and I was compelled to call in.
And Pi Ratio, I've just started talking about you to this wonderful young girl, Michelle, and she's here. She's the winner of the Global Mathlete competition, and she succeeded in being Deptford's very first Global Mathlete champion, okay, in year 3, age 8. What advice do you have for her? What advice do you have for her?
Well, firstly, I want to congratulate Michelle, and I want her to know that the community all over is very, very proud of her and the work that the achievement that she has done in such a short space of time.
Yes. She's
8 years old.
Yes.
She could probably teach me a few things. She absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
You know, and you mentioned that we have high hopes for her.
Yes.
You know, I'm so proud of Michelle because she is just what many of our other students are, but they just haven't budded yet. You know, when you have a flower,
yes,
and the flower hasn't opened up yet. She is just a representation of the masses of our students out there.
Yes.
But this is her time, and I want to commend her. She's done a fantastic job. Excellent.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now she can hear you, of course. Is there a question you want to put to her?
The question, is there a question? Well, I don't really want to put too many questions to her because what I like about Michelle is the fact that everyone else around here is excited and she's just taking it all in her stride.
Yes.
And I think that's absolutely brilliant. I think we're more excited about it than she is. But what I would like to ask Michelle is, how long has she been interested? When did she realize that she was interested in mathematics?
Oh, that's a good question. Michelle, did you hear that question?
No, can you repeat it, please?
Yes, the Pi Ratio asked the question, how long have you known that you are good or you were interested in mathematics?
About 3 months.
Did you hear that, Parvesha? A few months.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that, sorry.
She said a few months.
A few months. A few months. Wow. So months, oh man.
Oh my gosh, I know. Oh, a few months.
I'm just picking my jaw up from the floor, so I do apologize. A few months, wow. Is Michelle interested in any other subjects apart from
Michelle, are you interested in any other subject other than maths?
Yes, I really like writing.
She likes to write. There you go. She likes to write. Okay, do you hear that? Yeah, she likes to write. And I believe you like to draw as well, Michelle.
Yes.
Yeah, she likes to write and she likes to draw.
Now, I know, obviously, you've commended Brother Gordon for the amazing work that he has done at the school, and I second that, because it's always good when we have somebody of colour who understands our children and what they're going through and is able to implement programs to make a difference. But I also want to commend Michelle's parents.
Yes.
Because for me, education starts at home.
Yes.
And Michelle said something very profound when she was speaking. She said that when she comes home and she does her maths, practices her maths, it told me that a space has been created, provided to allow her to focus on her homework and to practice. And many of our parents can take note from that. That, you know, as much as they want their children to do well, if they're not able to find a space at home where they can go and practice what they've learned, then it makes it difficult for them for the neurons to capture the information that they need.
I totally agree with you. And maybe, Parvesha, you might want to describe your website, and maybe Michelle might be able to access some of the resources there.
All right. On my website, I have a website, and the website is Maths Surgery Learning Courses.com. I'll say that again. That's Maths Surgery Learning Courses.com.
Hold on a second. Hold on there, Parvesha. Michelle, did you hear that all right?
Yes.
Yeah, Maths Surgery Learning.com. Yeah.
Would you like me to? I can spell it for you. MATHSurgerylearningcourses.com.
Brilliant. Thank you. What will she find there if she went to that website?
Well, if you go to that website, what I've done is I've broken down all the units that you would be expected to know in taking not only your GCSEs, but all the units that you would be expected to learn in years 4, years 5, before you go to secondary school, and what you'd be expected to learn at secondary. So what I've done, I've taken each unit, and broken them down singularly, and I've done a video for each unit, and it's just a step-by-step as to how you deal with a particular unit. So, for example, if I'm assuming at about, if you're 8 years old, you're probably being exposed to things like division, fractions,
Yes.
Maybe a bit of bod maths.
Let's find out, Parvesha. Let's find out. Michelle, so what type of maths are you doing at the moment at school?
I just finished with fractions and I finished with division as well. And right now we're doing time.
You're doing what, sorry? Times?
Yes.
Time multiplications. Yes. Do you hear that, Parvesha?
Okay. Multiplication.
Yeah,
so
divisions and fractions.
What I would say to Michelle and any other students listening, the 4 basic principles that you need to learn very well is addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division.
Yes.
Because those are like the foundation of mathematics. It's a bit like a house. The house is not going to be firm unless there's a foundation, right?
Yes.
So if you have your foundation, everything else you learn sits on top of that, of those 4 units. If you learn those well, when you move on to learning fractions, you'll realize that you're just adding new skills to whatever it is you're doing, because fractions is just a posh name for division.
Indeed, yes.
So if you learn those 4 basic skills well, you will go on to grasp the other concepts quite easily. But if you don't learn those well enough, you tend to get a little bit confused.
Absolutely.
And after a while, you realize you may be getting a little bit left behind.
Okay. So I think what I might do here, Parvesha, and with Mum permission, is get you and Mum and Michelle to talk to each other directly, okay? And because you are a natural maths genius yourself, and it's quite evident that Michelle has almost genius level mathematics, and she doesn't realize that, of course, but that's great. You all should be talking to each other. Our community needs you all to talk to each other and to learn from each other. Is that okay, Mum, if I were to do that after the program?
Yes, please.
Wonderful. Parvesha, consider it done. Consider it done.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And you and I need to sit down as to how we're going to continue to promote your resources to the community. The community is thirsty for your support, okay? And we have budding geniuses such as Michelle here, who I know would greatly benefit from your advice and guidance. And you and Mr. Gordon need to talk to each other, because I suspect you can continue to enhance the teaching and learning of mathematics in his school.
Brother Motivator, can I just say that, you know, I tuned into your show from the get-go, and you've had me on the edge of my seat from the beginning right up until this point. And I want to commend you for this. It's an amazing show. You know, it's absolutely beautiful. And what you're doing for the community is also second to none. So let's you know what they say, birds of a feather flock together. You have an amazing guest on the show, you know, and she's complimenting what you do. So I want to commend you as well. But I want to commend Michelle and her parents for the work that they do behind the scenes.
Yes. Because
listening to Michelle, she tells me that her parents are doing great work behind the scenes.
Yes, they are. Thank you, Parvesha. I will be in touch with you, and thank you for calling in. Thank you for calling in. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Pleasure.
Keep doing what you're doing, family. Take care. Bye now.
Bye-bye. Well, there you are. Michelle, did you see what you've just done? Do you understand your impact?
Not really.
I like it. Mum, I like her. Oh, Mum, I like her. You've impressed people, Michelle. You've impressed boys and girls right across the country. You've impressed other parents with your achievement.
Yes.
Yes, you have. Little yes. Yes, you have, you know. And long may you remain this wonderful, cute voice. Mum, long may she maintain that lovely, cute voice, huh? Let's get her through the teenage period, of course, you know, let's get her through that, you know. Long may she maintain that. So Michelle, in addition to mathematics, you talked about writing and drawing. What do you like to write about? What do you like to write about?
Sometimes I write stories about other stories.
About what? Is there any particular themes that you like to write about? What subjects do you like to write about? Is it really fantasy, or is it or do you like write sort of factual stories about what you've seen and what you feel about what you see?
I write about books I've read.
You what, sorry?
I write about books I've read.
Yes, yes. What sort of books do you read? Yeah.
Books like Goldilocks.
Okay.
Kids' books.
Okay. Goldilocks. Okay, that's interesting. Any other books? Give us some idea. Do you have a particular author, maybe? Oh, you still there?
Leon placed in between.
Got some feedback here for some reason. There you are. That's solved it now. Okay, I think maybe you're in. Just give us some idea what you like to read and to write about.
Sometimes I read books about what I've learned in class, and then I just summarize it.
Give us an example, maybe of one of them, more recent one, maybe.
Leon and the Place in Between.
I didn't quite catch that. Please say again.
Leon and the Place in Between.
Oh, okay. And what's that about? Tell us.
It's about a circus. There's a boy who goes into a circus. It's about a boy who goes to a circus. Then he goes into a box which takes him into a place in between.
Oh, and what happens?
And then he comes out with a rabbit and the crowd just claps.
Okay, that's a time-honored circus performance, I've got to say. Why does that impress you?
Because I'm into magic books like that.
So have you ever thought about, in terms of magic, creating something completely new?
I have once.
Oh, tell us about that.
It didn't really work out.
Don't worry, try again. But tell us about your idea.
Okay. It was about a little girl who went to a house and there was a doll who lived there.
A dog?
A doll.
A doll, right, okay. And tell us about this doll, yeah?
I haven't finished the story, but might finish it soon.
So when you do your stories, do you want your stories to have a happy ending, or do you just want an ending which is thoughtful?
I aim to end it with a happy ending.
Give us an example of a story with a happy ending that you've written. Long silences.
The Dog and the Beast.
Oh, right. Tell us more. Go on, tell us about that one.
A dog met a beast, and then the dog defeated the beast.
The dog defeated the beast. That sounds like the real world, I have to say. How was that possible? Did the dog apply mathematics, or was it simply from strength, physical strengths?
Strength.
And was this in terms of the mass behind the strengths? Was it in terms of pounds or kilograms? was it? What sort of strength did the dog have? You see, I like asking questions as well, Michelle.
But I don't really know.
You see? You see, if I knew you, I'd ask you lots of questions. You see? Tell us more. We're still listening. We're still waiting for you.
But I don't really know what kind of strength the dog had. But
Okay.
all I know is that it brought a pack with it.
Yeah, he brought a cat with it, you say?
It brought a pack with it and defeated the beast.
Okay, okay. Can I ask you, please, Michelle, if you could speak a bit closer to your microphone, what it is, because I'm having difficulty adjusting your volume at this end. Okay. We're now coming to a sort of close to the interview. If you wanted to encourage other boys and girls to study, you mentioned they should not allow themselves to be distracted. Okay, you mentioned that. Okay. You've also said that that they should study and study slightly longer if they want to achieve. Okay. What would your third piece of advice be to a boy or girl who is at school and they want to achieve what you've achieved? What else would you suggest that they do?
They should try again if they fail once.
Wow. How old did you say you are? How old are you, Michelle?
For Mathlete.
You're 8 years old, are you?
Yes.
Wow. And what you're saying to other boys and girls, even though you might fail, you've got to try and try again. Is that right?
Yes.
What made you to say that? Is that what you just learned yourself? Did Mr. Gordon give you that piece of knowledge, or did your mum give you the knowledge? What made you say that?
Well, I came up with that myself.
You come to that conclusion yourself, yeah? And through the failure, you learn. And through the learning, you get better to succeed. Am I right?
Yes.
You understand that. I knew you would understand that. Brilliant, 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 brilliant. You know, Michelle, this has been an interesting interview, you know. I don't often interview children, and I need to interview more children, I can tell, okay? But this interview will be repeated. Other boys and girls will listen to your words. So we hope, and I'm a parent myself, we hope that not only will you become really proficient, really good at maths, that you also become really good at English and writing, grammar, good at English literature, which you'll come to in your future years, that you develop a good understanding of your science subjects. I'm not sure we do as yet any biology or physics or chemistry. Have you started any of that as yet in your school?
No.
Not yet. That will come. That will come. But I imagine you have been studying plants and different flowers.
Yes.
Yes, you have. Yeah, that's all part of it. Okay, so it's coming. Okay, so prepare yourself for your future years. So what I used to do when I was your age, I used to look at what 9-year-olds were doing, 10-year-olds were doing, 11-year-olds were doing, just so I could anticipate what was to come. So when I started doing those pieces of work in the classroom, I was already ahead of the class because I'd already started to study those subjects at that level. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
And whilst you're right that we ask questions, you know, but to really advance, you have to become your own researcher. So we need to get you your own computer, but with your mother's permission, okay? So you could do your own research. So when you have a question, you know where to go to seek out the answers.
Okay.
Would that be all right?
Yes.
Wonderful. Because I know my children used to ask many questions that I could not answer. So I had to provide them with the facilities so that others could respond and answer their questions, you know? So I have to say to you, it's such a privilege to interview you now. And I know you're not fully appreciating this right now, but I'd love to interview you again in 10 years' time when you're 18 years old.
Okay.
I'd love to do that. But this will be an interesting turning point in your life. You heard what Pi Ratio said. The whole community, your entire community is listening and is supporting you. Okay?
Okay.
All right. And if you can encourage other boys and girls to be like you, to develop that thirst for knowledge, that ability to work hard and not be afraid to ask questions and not be afraid to get it wrong sometimes, then I anticipate you will have a remarkable life, Michelle. Would you like a remarkable life?
Yes.
There you go. There you are. I want to give you that ambition because I haven't spoken to your head teacher who you evidently admire. From the Gridling Golding School in Deptford in South London, we can anticipate great things. No pressure, Mr. Gordon, no pressure. Oh, Mum, I can hear you laughing in the background. Huh? And Mum, before you go, anything you want to say to us? Just give us your final words to us.
Okay. I want to use this opportunity to say thank you very much to Mr. Gordon and all the teachers at Green Gilbons for making this possible. And also, thank you very much for having me share this morning.
It is our privilege. It has been our privilege. And listening to her now, and I said in 10 years' time, it'd be really interesting to hear her speak. And if she follows the advice and she sounds as if she will follow the advice, become really good at mathematics, become really good in English language, English literature, read as much as possible, really master the sciences, and she's yet to encounter it in biology, the physics, chemistry, okay? Really master those subjects, okay? Really develop a competency, a skill in the humanities, such as geography and history. And history is such an important subject for our community. Our history, not the broader history, but our history as Africans, okay? And if she does, as we can all anticipate, become an accomplished academic. I know that's a big word at the moment, Michelle. I do apologize. Don't worry. But you keep recording. You keep this recording. You'll understand in time. An accomplished academic, someone who absorbs knowledge and is able to teach knowledge to others, like Mr. Gordon. Okay. Then your contribution to the community will be outstanding. And Mum, on behalf of the community, we want to thank you. We want to thank you for what you've done in raising this wonderful daughter.
It's my pleasure.
We want to thank you. That's the one reason why I got you here. We wanted to thank you, ensure that message has got across to you. We want to make sure you understand that message. We appreciate you.
Thank
Okay?
you.
So each time you pray, we want you to be assured that you are very much in our prayers.
Thank you.
It is our pleasure. And Michelle, I've got a good friend by the name of Michelle. Okay, she's just as wonderful as you are, I have to tell you. I have to say to you though, Michelle, remember what I said. Please follow your mother's advice and instructions.
Okay.
Whatever she says to you comes from a place of unreserved love. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It does. Michelle, I want to thank you for spending your time with us this morning, okay? And please, if you need our support in any way, feel free to contact myself.
Okay.
Whatever support we can offer you, we will go find the support from within the community. Okay? All righty? And the next time you see your head teacher, please give him this message from the motivator. Say this to him. Keep up the good work.
Okay.
All right? Okay? All righty. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I better let you go now. It's been a long time for you. So thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you very much, Mum Felicia. I want you both to have a wonderful weekend. And please, you are not strangers. You can contact myself or this show at any time. All righty?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye to you both. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. 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 Wow. That was something, people. We had the opportunity to speak to that wonderful, wonderful family. Michelle, the Mathlete, age 8, year 3, global champion. And here in London, South London, in Deptford, okay, in the Gridling Golding School. Head teacher, Mr. Dean Gordon. Well done, well done, well done. And long may that school continue to prosper. I commend that school to you all. Okay. I know Mr. Gordon talked about the teaching profession and the challenges our people experiences in the teaching profession to achieve head teachership, or indeed to achieve senior leadership positions in schools. Understood. But we do need teachers to explain the challenges, what it is like to being in the profession, so that the people can respond in kind. Okay. We want to see more members, increased numbers of our communities who hold these senior positions, particularly in those boroughs, particularly my own borough of Southwark. 8% of the student population of African mixed race heritage. Clearly, Mr. Gordon demonstrating we absolutely will make a difference to the academic, the educational prospects of those children. But listening to Michelle, matter of fact, she said, it's, I just worked a bit harder, I made sure I studied. She's got good ethos, she doesn't realize it, good ethos. I just went home, I work hard, I ask a lot of questions, And I suspect when she goes back to school, she asks a question, Mr. Gordon has all the time in the world to respond to her questions. Precocious mind such as that deserves talented teachers around them that they can, those flowers, as Pyratia said, can flourish, can bloom, show their real potential. And as Pyratia pointed out, of course, that is very much to do with the home conditions. He pointed out to us that parents have a significant role to play to enable their sons and daughters to realize their academic potential. Mom was shy. Oh, a bit like Michelle, huh? Mom was shy, she said, no, I'm not very good at speaking. She spoke very well today. Very well today. I say to all parents, if you're proud of your sons and daughters' achievements, ring the show. No matter what the subject is, I will always make time for you. Ring the show. Outline to us, explain to us why you're proud of your sons or daughters' achievements. So that we can share in your pride for your sons and daughters' achievements. Really important. Doesn't matter the subject I might be addressing, if a parent or a child wishes to call this show to outline their achievement, I will make time for you. That call I will take. Okay. It is so critical that we as a community are, of course, family-centered. So what Mum has been able to create, even though she's by herself, I know it's tough. I know she works long hours. I know often she's tired. I know so. She didn't say today, but I'm telling you, I know often she's tired. But she's never too tired to express love for her child. It is tough, but she's never too tired where she can answer a question, to respond to a question from her child. But she will make sure that her child has the support around her to answer those questions. Precociousness among a child is such a wonderful gift, absolutely wonderful gift for a child to have. To ask questions, to constantly ask questions, to be inquisitive, to want to know, that thirst for knowledge. We must never, as parents, suppress our child's thirst for knowledge. So it's up to us to create the right conditions in which our children can flourish. It is up to us to create the conditions in which a child can realize their potential. It is up to us not only to create conditions, but to seek support from outside the home to come into our home to provide the support for our children. And this is where people like Pyratia comes in. A natural mathematician. He was a precocious child, just like Michel, asking questions all the time, looking at mathematical formulas, looking for the solutions to them. Just like her, But he's made it clear for all parents what is the basis, of a child's success. What must a child at that age must, what is the skill they must acquire? Okay. Additions, subtractions, divisions. You must acquire those skills, understandings, and of course, fractions. Must master them, okay? And of course, in mastering them, okay, it sets you up to have the ability to take on more advanced subjects, okay? So what I want to do before I go, I want to play that interview that this wonderful, precocious 8-year-old child gave to the BBC. And I would recognize this is a YouTube film, a YouTube film that was on the BBC, that was given over to noting, recognizing this Mathlete, get it right, Mathlete, okay? So I want to play it because I want you to hear Michelle in her glory, just speaking matter-of-factly about becoming a global mathlete, okay? So let me set it up, but I want you to all to hear why I'm giving so much time to this. Because again, we don't give enough time over to honoring and applauding.
Keep practicing at maths until you reach your goal. When I leave school, I'm going to aim to be a scientist because math can really help me do that, and I want to learn more about the world. My name is Michelle, I'm 8 years old, and I'm the gold medal winner for the Maths Global Challenge.
The World Mathlete Challenge is a global competition which attracts over 10 million children. And for Michelle, in our little school here in Deptford, to have come out as being the champion, it goes to show how well she has done.
I was happy but shocked. I couldn't believe I could do something like that. All my friends were proud of me.
The challenges and the tasks are quite difficult, but the difficulty is based on children's ages. They have to work quickly.
I was a bit nervous, but I knew that if I made mistakes, I would learn from them. So I kept on trying hard.
We're a part of it because we have bought into Mathletics, which is something that we use to encourage our children to improve their mathematical knowledge, their mathematical skills.
I didn't really practice, I just do what I usually do. Playing maths games, doing my homework, working hard in school, and I just really enjoy maths.
Some parents like it. Mr. Gordon, I can't do maths and my child doesn't like maths. We don't believe that at all. We try to make maths exciting, engaging, make it fun. Children love to go online and play online games, and a lot of these activities are done on the computers, on the iPads, the laptops, the mobile phones. They love it, they use it, but what it does, it encourages them to be better at maths.
Subtraction, addition, fractions, my times tables. I really like them because they really challenge me to do new stuff. And people who got famous, like Albert Einstein, really inspired me to do new things.
And that was Michelle speaking on BBC. In fact, for her, it is continue as so. Okay, sorry about the sound. Long may that continue as such. For her, it was simply normal. It was just normal. It wasn't a burden. It had been made fun. As far as she's concerned, she's a mathlete. Okay, not an athlete like Usain Bolt. There you are. There you are. Let's show him on my screen. Okay, she's a mathlete. Okay, she recognized the determination to win is, of course, that Usain Bolt. He practiced and practiced and practiced, prepared his body so that he can push it beyond most human beings can reach. Okay, so that was and is an example. And of course, the other example is, of course, her head teacher, Mr. Gordon. She cited Mr. Gordon as being her source of inspiration. You never forget a good teacher. I'm immensely proud that I've been able to interview her. And I said, I hope I could interview her in 10 years' time. Assuming I could do this in 10 years' time, okay? And I hope I can, and I will if I can, interview in 10 years' time. And we can see her evolution, okay? And I'm confident that she will develop and deepen her skills, not only in mathematics, but also in English literature. She'll be well-read. That she will have a deep understanding of sciences, biology, chemistry, physics. Will be interested in humanities, geography, history, and so on. Yeah. That you have a whole range of thoughts and ideas, some conventional and some will be challenging the boundaries of thought processes. Okay. And by 18, I suspect she would have a clear idea of the papers she will take at university. And she would have some idea of her academic path. I've seen on the social media that she must probably become a member of Mensa, you know, this where the intelligent people, you know, are members, you know. Or she'll deliver a paper at one of the great institutions, science institutions in Britain. Oh yeah, it's well within her capabilities, but for her, it's a matter of fact. Our responsibility as a community, remember the African saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Okay? It takes a village to raise a child. Yes, the parents are central, without a shadow of a doubt, but so are the elders. So are other parents of other children, because we all co-parent. If we see a child that needs help and she's out in the community, we're there because we are that child's parents. We simply do not walk on by. If you have a talented, precocious child who displays real potential and has natural ambition, it is our responsibility to give support to that child, to that parents. That child can make a meaningful contribution that is measurable by the potential displayed. It is our responsibility. Together, we can all make the difference. Together, working together, we can become greater than our individual parts. But we have to work together, not allow our egos to get in the way. We're not competing any longer. We're working collaboratively together. And only through that collaboration will our children truly benefit from our works. Being individualist and doing it for ourselves, means it's just for ourselves. But where you engage in work for the community, for the wider community, it's only then is the difference made. Community wealth, building community wealth is an important concept we need to continue to develop within the community. Building community wealth, and what Michelle represents is that wealth we have in our community. Together, we can make the difference. Remember, it's important, the whole reason for these shows is that we translate our words into action. But most importantly, and this is the mindset, remember, reparations begins with self. Success is ours for the taking. Remember, success is ours for the taking. So this is the motivator signing out. But remember, be good to yourself, exercise, eat the right food in the right proportions. Remember, take care of yourself. Think about your mental and spiritual health and sexual health. Remember to take care of others as you wish them to take care of you. Now it's time for me to sign off. I'll see you next strong, as Nana Chief Akambabai would say, because together we can all and will make the difference. Signing out now then. Thank you all for your listening ear.